So let's have a look at this line over here, which looks a bit strange. So here, what we have is multiple variables that are listed over here to the left of the equal sign, and our train test split function is being passed these arguments. So we are being passed x, so we're passing x, y, test size, random into this function. So that's the function being called. And normally you'd say the function returned only one value. And that is still true. It still returns one value. But in this instance, it's working as a tuple. So multiple outputs are generated from here, and those outputs are populated over here to the left of the equal sign. So the equal sign is here, and these variables are being populated. So this function actually still returns a single item, but multiple values are being returned in that single result. So if we have a look at the data types in Python, you could have a list. So it could return a list, and although it's returning one item, but that list can have multiple items in it. And so does a tuple. So although a tuple, you can see the single variable being returned here, but actually it can contain multiple items. And this is the same concept that applies. Now, one thing that Python does is it can have assigned multiple items. So here you can see that I have the equal sign and I've got multiple items. So this here is a tuple and is populating in that order A and B. A is being assigned over here. So 1 is being assigned to A and 2 is being assigned to B. So if I were to run this, you can see the output that we get. The output that we get is A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2. So going back to this example, you can see 2 items. So essentially, you could say this is a bit like that. This is a tuple and this would still work. And you can see here the values got assigned. So you can ignore the brackets, but essentially it's doing the same thing. So the same thing is happening here. It is actually returning multiple values. And what Python is doing is it can do multiple assignments rather than single assignment, but they need to be in that order, because if we switch the values here, B and A, for example, then we would get a different output. B would simply have 1 and A would have 2, which is not what our intention was. So just remember that this is done by the power of multiple assignments in Python. So one function still returned a single item, but then Python has some clever tricks in its sleeve, which is able to do things like this, a single item being assigned to multiple. So here, as you saw, we could create this as a single item, a tuple, and this tuple gets assigned to 2 variables over here in that order that we specify. So B gets 1, A gets 2, or we could swap this around and say this is A and B. So it will be this one will assign to that, this one will assign to that.